quarterback. Who's your top five for week number 9?
Pretty standard at this point. It's Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, and Kyler Murray.
Yep, I got Allen Hurts, Mahomes, Jackson Murray. So we're in agreement there. So let's talk about who you're high on.
Well, I'm high on Aaron Rodgers this week.
Whoa,
Yeah,
first
I
time,
know. Remember?
first time, long
Yeah.
time.
Last week I had him ranked like 27th, and predictably they still ran the ball even though they were trailing by a ton. And they didn't add him, any pass catching talent at the trade deadline, so that was disappointing. So look for him to be extremely mad this week. So he's my QB 12 against the Lions. Granted, there are 6 teams on a bye, so that probably helps. Why he's in my low end QB1 tier, but this is a easy matchup. I expect the Packers to still run a ton, but Rodgers should be able to get 2 touchdowns again. He's thrown for 2 or more touchdowns in 6 of 8 games this year, so he's had a nice floor. And the Packers have the 3rd highest team total this week, so I'm just banking on his touchdown upside here. Again, the pass catching talent's going to be lacking this week. I'm assuming Lazard, probably Watson are going to be out, but Dobbs looked great last week. Watkins is healthy, so I think he has enough pass catching talent. Aaron Jones out of the backfield that he should sneak in with a QB1 performance this week.
Yeah, this is the highest I've had Rodgers too. I'm pretty much in the same spot. It's a kind of a weird week in terms of, where at least my initial rankings are falling in terms of consensus. They're pretty much spot on. So I don't have like any massive gaps, but for me, I'll go with Justin Fields. I'm like a spot or 2 higher than consensus on Fields. He's a top 10 quarterback for me this week. If you look at his first 4 weeks of the season, obviously new scheme, even though, with the new coaching staff. So his finishes were QB 23, QB 28, QB 32, QB 25. But then since week 5, QB 12, QB 9, QB 5, QB 5. So he's kind of done what I think we both thought he was going to do kind of entering the season, which is, be kind of approximate some of these quarterbacks that you could have drafted, on the lower end of that spectrum. And you basically got him for free. So I like this matchup. Miami's 29th in pass DVOA. I know they just got Bradley Chubb, so that'll obviously help. We'll see if he's on a pitch count or anything this week. But either way, Miami has really struggled in pass defense this year. And they're also bottom 5 in yards per carry allowed to quarterbacks, which obviously is key against Fields. And, these last couple of weeks, I think one of the keys for Fields has been they watched like Lamar Jackson tape. And they started incorporating more quarterback runs for him. So he's getting more design runs. So, scrambles is always they don't drop back a ton. So the scrambles, even though he's great on scrambles, those can kind of be high variance. But the fact that he's now getting a couple more design runs per game really increases his floor and his ceiling, because those are essentially in addition to what he would do, as a scrambler.
Yeah, those design runs have been huge. Really, high floor now with his rushing upside. And plus, he gets an upgrade at his wide receiver 2 with Chase Claypool. What do you think about that? Obviously, it's probably not going to do much for him this week, but that certainly gives him a boost rest of the season, right? Just a slight.
Claypool's my dude. He came through for me and convinced me with the
4
receptions. Yeah. So, no, I like it. And, we'll talk about somebody who I think it might hurt in the short term at least. But, anytime you add another wide receiver, I think maybe it helps them just call a few more passing plays as well, because I think it's kind of the same thing. I know it's not relevant this year, but Calvin Ridley kind of leaving Atlanta worries me a little bit about London and Pitts, because like at least if they had Ridley, London, and Pitts, you could say, okay, like they got to be more pass heavy, right? Like now it's like, what are they going to do next year? It's interesting. So I think Chicago adding some talent in that wide receiver room, does. And what do you think is the rotation going to be like? Obviously, Claypool will be, him and Mooney are probably going to be the top 2, but like, is N'Keal Harry kind of that number 3, and they're just going to kind of do away with Pettis and ESB, because Jones obviously has a future with the team. So is it going to kind of be Claypool, Harry, and Mooney, you think?
Yeah, I would think so. St. Brown and Pettis have just been guys right now, but Harry
always
definitely
been just guys.
Yeah, obviously, and so is Harry. But he was operating as the number 2 wideout, so I would guess that he's going to be a 3rd, maybe a red zone threat. That would be Claypool as well. Although Cole Kmet just got a touchdown, which was weird. But I just think this phases out Equanimous and Pettis. And Harry will be out there for 3 wide. But again, not this week, but probably next week and going forward, Claypool will be a 90% route run guy. So I think that's definitely going to help Fields.
Who are you low on?
I'm low on Trevor Lawrence. He has a great matchup this week against the Raiders, but I just don't think we could trust him right now. He only has 2 passing touchdowns the past 4 games combined. And he really hasn't tapped into his rushing ability enough to make up for that. And he's only thrown for 300 yards once this season, so I don't really know what we're banking on here. Plus, this offense just runs through Travis Etienne right now. He looks so good. So I could just see them leaning on Etienne against the Raiders' suspect defense anyway. So it might be tempting to sneak Lawrence in as a low-end QB1. The consensus ranking for him right now is QB 13, but I'm a bit more sour on him. He's my QB 16. Again, like, he's going to have a bit more consistency for me to trust him in these spots.
Yeah, same thing for me. He's my QB 16, and I think it's my Colts theory. I mean, he had these 2 games against the Colts. He was 45 of 52 passing for 400 yards. Against everyone else, he's completing about 57% of his passes, 6.4 yards per attempt. So, that was just a great matchup for him. That zone heavy Colts team, and against everyone else, he just looked pretty much like the quarterback he was as a rookie. It just doesn't seem like some of the throws are the ball placement on some of the throws is where it's supposed to be. The decision making, I think, could stand to improve as well. So, we're halfway done with his second season. He really needs to start showing something. As do a lot of these quarterbacks from that draft class, but obviously he had the highest expectations and really has not lived up to them at all.
Yeah, but next year though, he's going to have Calvin Ridley, so maybe we see the Josh Allen leap that he had once he got Stephon Diggs. So next season, I'm going to be buying in once again on Lawrence, but it's going to help having a wide receiver at the caliber of Calvin Ridley at least.
Absolutely. I mean, we hope. We haven't. Really hasn't played in a while either. But we're going for the prop.
So I wanted to go with a Justin Fields versus Marcus Mariota, who's going to have more passing yards this week. I mean, they're right there on the QB1, QB2 cusp this week, so it is important to kind of sort this out. But you already mentioned Fields has a pretty good passing matchup. He just got Claypool. And Mariota, they're facing the Chargers, so they're going to lean on the run a ton. But I have them both projected for the same passing yards, so I was wondering if you have either one of them projected for more.
I have Mariota a little more. I still have the Bears is run heavier. So I'll go Mariota, but I don't feel great about it.
What do you have it at?
I have Mariota around 190 and Fields around 175.
Oh, okay. So that's a pretty big margin. I'm both right around 175.